D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die, is the next game from Swery65, who became really popular from the game Deadly Premonition. Try to keep to the same quirky, nearly illogical aspect that Deadly Premonition has. D4 is a point-and-click adventure that takes advantage of the Kinect sensor, but can also be played with a control pad, where you, Detective David Young of the Boston Police Department, are trying to solve the mystery of your wife's murder. You were shot in the head in that same day and you lost all your memories, but for some reason you now have the power to dive back into the past with clues known as mementos. Here, when you go back in the past, you can experience what happened and try to change events in hope to either figure out who killed your wife or to try and stop it in the first place. This episodic adventure gives the prologue and 2 episodes and ends on a cliffhanger, with the other 2 episodes due at a later date, so don't expect closure from what's available right now. Although the premise is interesting, I found it too focused on being bizarre and mundane for its own good. Although people can really like the mundane texture that comes in this sort of game, for me, it didn't give enough to actually make me care about these characters, because they were too busy talking about James Bond movies or clam chowder or just really illogical things that wouldn't be necessary to be explained whilst you're in a murder investigation. Rather than try to give any context of why these conversations are happening, it felt more like Swery was going, yeah, this is boring, and you're going to like that, aren't you? And I just didn't. Some of the characters were interesting. I quite liked David as a character as well as his partner Teddy. I cared for them, but everybody else felt very flippant and just used for that sort of bizarre queer aspect rather than to try and help enhance the plot. Playing with Kinect is the preferable way to go. You use your hand as a mouse pointer and you clench your fist to click on objects, and that makes it a lot better than the push to select that other games have been doing. These action segments that you can see in the video right now are more QTE affairs where you just wave your arms around in time with the game to perform actions. Playing with the Kinect rather than the control pad makes it easier and more accurate, fully enough. The pad controls, for the most part, feel quite cumbersome in comparison. I tend to perform better with the Kinect. It's clear that the Kinect came first in the development, and the control pad was kind of shoehorned in after Microsoft abandoned making Kinect mandatory. So they kind of wanted to give both options available for anybody who didn't have the sensor. If you do have the Kinect sensor, highly recommended you use that instead. If you really like Deadly Premonition and Swery's commitment to the mundane, you might find enjoyment here. You might get more invested in the plot than I did, but I just really had a hard time caring for why I was here. And that's unfortunate. The game has great style. I quite like the art despite the blurry textures, and anything that gives a unique experience, Kinect or not, just a unique experience in this market today is recommended and almost encouraged. Unfortunately, this isn't the game for me. You might think differently, and for that, it is $11.99. It's not very expensive. You might want to take a shot when it goes on sale, but I think most people are going to have a hard time getting into it when the game's too busy beating you over the head with what it wants to tell you rather than what the story is actually about. This D4 Dark Dreams Don't Die. You can find my written review on BritXbox.co.uk and let me know what you think in the thread.